are back. Can't be more excited right now. Let's go. We're welcoming in Patrick Jamroz. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? Welcome back, host. It's been a couple weeks. It's good to hear your voice lead us in.
Dude, I am just so excited. I don't even have the words right now. I got to get it together. What's up, D Brown on the iPhone?
What's up, boys? Playoff time in the Valley.
Playoff time, baby.
Feeling like it, though.
And then we got our producer in the studio, CDAP. What's going on?
What's going on? Good to get the win this week. We're looking to ruin seasons. Put Lane in that clown suit.
Yeah, definitely looks like Lane in the clown suit after this week. But like we know, 2 weeks left, and they're going to be huge ones. So we got the standings right here in front of us. We're starting off. We're in the thick of it now, so let's look at it. What do you guys think? Just initial reactions. What are you looking at? What's going to be the storylines over these next 2 weeks?
I think this week I'm definitely looking at the brother matchup, the Jamroz matchup. That's a huge one. I think that's going to swing a lot of things coming in these final 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that's a massive matchup. I can punch my ticket, send Sandman home. I also, other co-host, Caleb against Shea, and he can – I mean, honestly, at this point, I think the Nests are dead and gone. I think those birds got shot down, and it's over for the season. So I'm looking at it. If Sheehan can go 2-0 and maybe get one of the other three that are still alive to go 7-7, he's got a decent amount of points. He can win that tiebreaker, but it starts with taking down Hall this week. So that's a big matchup. And then let's not put Lane in the clown suit just yet. If Lane can pull off the win this week, have Dap lose next week as well, it looks like Lane probably has more points. He's going to win. And he has head-to-head, so it doesn't even matter. So it's not officially Lane yet. We'll see if he can make a late push.
Ross, you said that the Nest is looking dead and gone pretty much. Do you know who their final two matchup is against?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I think he has a heart. I think he's got Dim. Yeah.
He's got Dim. I mean, the Nest still has a heartbeat, but like we've said the past couple of weeks, the state of his team, we haven't liked it. And I mean, but he still got some possibilities. I could see C-Mac maybe getting a 4 seed, but I mean, I hope not. I hope he stays away from it.
Yeah, based off those odds we were looking at, it just doesn't look good for Mac. His head-to-head against a lot of these teams is not good. And if it was a 3-way tie, then obviously it comes down to points, and then that wasn't factored in off the playoff odds. But look at his points. I don't think he's great compared to Sheehan. Me and him are right pretty close. Sam and him are pretty close, and Ross has him beat. So doesn't look like he has a great chance just based off his matchups and the tiebreakers. But
I think that's where I'm at, Hall. The fact that both you and I have a tiebreaker on him and we're ahead of him, where Sheehan's got you this week, Trevor's got me this week. That's big tiebreaker games. So that's why I think the Nests need a lot to happen to sneak into the playoffs, in my opinion.
It was surprising to me how much of a better shot that Sheehan has at playoffs than C-Mac. But when you think about it, it does make sense because of what you just said.
So it's Dim in the 1, Kirch 2, and then it's you 2 in the 3 and 4?
Yep.
That's big. Imagine if it ended like that and we'd have the two kind of not – I mean, Kirch is still kind of fresh to the league. Dim is kind of fresh to the playoffs, and then we'd have some two vets going at it. Yeah, that'd be a playoff that right there.
I think Dim gets to sneak away with this narrative that he's new to the playoffs. He was in the championship against me a couple years ago. He was in the playoffs last year. I mean, he's about to have the best record in the league. He's got the most points. Like, this is championship or bust for Joe Dim, in my opinion.
So yeah, he's not as ripe as I was saying. That's true.
Yeah, it's about to be 3 of the last 4 years. Anything else?
Yeah,
I mean, we touched on Lane obviously having a being in last and looking like he's in the clown suit. D Brown has a slight chance of being in the clown suit. That was a little surprising.
There's still three ways for the clown suit. So I mean, it's definitely not over yet. But I mean, I like my chances. This week I'm playing Kurt, so I don't necessarily like my chances until I heard some news from Ross that Josh Jacobs is out. So, but even with Josh Jacobs out, Kurt is projected still to beat me 111-108. So he doesn't even need him, and he's still projected to win. But I mean, I'm feeling good. I got Kurt, who's a little bit banged up this week, and then I got Chaw next week, who I'm the points for. I mean, we got more points for. So the next 2 games, I feel like I can take care of at least one of them. And if I do that, I feel like I should stay away from the clown suit. But
yeah, if you win one, you're good.
It's definitely up there for 3 ways for sure.
All right, cool. Well, anything else you want to touch on here? We're looking at strength of schedule on the next slide.
Oh yeah, maybe that's the next one. I was about to say. I wish we had that slide that you sent to the group last night.
Yeah. So this isn't the one I sent necessarily. This is the strength of schedule.
Yeah.
So at the bottom is the overall strength of schedule, or what other teams' combined record would be if they had your schedule.
Okay,
So,
I was confused on what that was. I didn't know what that was.
So 10 is the hardest.
So 10 is the hardest because teams with Lane's schedule would be 40 and 80 combined.
Okay, wait, hang on. Let me see this. So looking at CDs, TDs, teams would be 40 and 80 with his schedule.
Yeah, okay. So Sandman looking directly above him, Ravens Nest would be 2 and 10 with his schedule. Sandman would be 1 and 11. So on. So teams would no matter what would have a tough time with Lane's schedule.
Definitely.
And then with C-Mac's schedule, they'd be 83 and 37.
That's just mind-blowing stat.
It is crazy. I think if you look all the way to the right, he has tied for the worst record of what people would have in that schedule. So, I mean, if you look at the Nest and any other schedule, the best they're going is 7 and 5.
I mean, the Nest team with the Nest schedule, and I lost my first 2 picks for 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if you look all the way to the right, those are clearly the 3 easiest. And then with a combination of the Rockers, Nappers, and CD TDs, which is no coincidence, the bottom 3, the boys had tough go around every week. They had people's best shots. So, literally. I mean, it's interesting to look at it this way, but with the schedule is randomized and you play who you play, and this is what came of it.
Yeah, I know for sure. It just shows you that, it's fantasy football. It's crazy. I just found this website that was pretty in-depth.
It also, correct me if I'm wrong, but does it also show that C-Mac missed an opportunity this year?
Oh, big time. It's pretty evident when we are just harping how bad that team is week after week after week, and he's able to fight for 6 and 6. He's had the options. I know both of his losses to Trevor were really close, in the 90s game. So, and then I only put up 97 this week. The guy's just losing low scoring games, and he doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs. I think he more deserves to be in the clown suit than fighting for a playoff spot right now.
Jesus.
For sure.
And this is tough to look at.
I think it's interesting. There's only 3 possible 10 and 2s, or 4 possible 10 and 2s on this. 2 of them are in Colin's book, and then 1 is for the Trippers, and then 1 is Joe Dim, who has his 10 and 2 record. So C-Mac definitely let an opportunity go when you look at it that way. One other point I'll make is that the worst possible record on here would have been Sandman with CD's TD's schedule. So if Sandman had drawn his schedule, he'd be 1 and 11 right now, looking like a primetime clown suit candidate. So.
Oh, if only.
You can play what if all day. We aren't. We're in the reality of it. So, that last slide is probably much more relevant of the standings. Just thought this would be interesting to look at real quick.
I like the other one where you sent, where it showed what your record would have been no matter who you had in that given week, where it was D Brown had the tough start where it was 0-9, 0-9. So I like that, where it's if I'm looking at my team and it's 10 out of the 12 weeks I would have had a winning record, that makes me feel confident that no matter what the schedule was, I was able to put the best team out, and however you want to look at it. But I like that one a lot too.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's much to look at this and say, okay, this is how I'm going to make my fantasy team better, but it's just interesting to look at for sure.
Definitely.
All right, let's jump to the next one. Back to reality here. Let's run through what happened. We all know it. So we've kind of been shortening this up, and we'll stick with that theme here. Trippers.
What was the last week? It was week 13. Just took forever because that Ravens game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the week started at 12 o'clock on Thursday, and then it moves to Wednesday afternoon. Pretty wild.
And part of the reason why we're doing the podcast now because of that game. So everything's getting jumbled here.
Just a crazy week. But here's how it ended up. The Trippers, big win over Matty Shee. It looked like it was going to be close there, and then Tyreek Hill just blew it open for Kurt.
Literally. Kyler Murray.
Tyreek Hill's good for a 40-plus game a year, and this was certainly it.
This is it. And as we touched on, team's not out of it, but this was a tough loss. Very tough loss. This matchup for me, I mean, you just touched on it, D Brown. 6 weeks or 7 day matchup, 6 day matchup, whatever it was. I thought for sure Thanksgiving. I showed up at your place and I was like, God damn, I am done. And
literally. First thing he came over and he was like, that's true. Just the fact that I feel like maybe you felt the long week freaking hit you the hardest because it started with J.D. McKissick on Thanksgiving. He's like, why did I start J.D. McKissick? The next day, Gurley gets ruled out. He's like, I got Brian Hill. He's like, now I'm pissed I started McKissick. I got more options on my bench. So it was a whirlwind of emotions for Charles in this matchup. But it ended up with freaking Rodgers and A-Rob going off. I didn't even watch that game. I woke up and I'm like 25 each from them. Yeah,
it was great to see, and it's been the theme for us, the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, and then obviously the defense kicker helped us out this week. So good to get a win. We needed it, and TD's looking like he might be heading for the clown suit. He needs a couple of wins down the stretch to avoid that. Let's jump to the next one. The Pirates, big win. Obviously, the Steelers-Ravens game was hugely impactful in this one. Just a couple of boneheaded mistakes from C-Mac. Didn't end up killing him. I mean, maybe if he started Montgomery instead of Gus Edwards, he could have gotten a win, but the mismanagement of his team at least didn't end up killing him. And Old Town Pirates came out with the win.
Yeah, I mean, it was not our best performance. Our 3 running backs did awful, but, I mean, we beat a bad team, and we put up a bad week, but we're going to come back stronger, I think. Mike Evans really made it close. I think we were looking pretty good until he scored those 2 late TDs. But I got to shout out Dallas Goedert. Sanders did not come to play, and he gave me a comfortable lead. And no one really understood the Gus Edwards start. Only Colin does that with a Ravens fan he is, against a tough matchup with RG3. He snuck in the end zone, and he only got 1 other point besides that. There was one other thing I wanted to say.
Daniel Jones, maybe?
If Daniel Jones, yeah, that was pretty – I mean, there wasn't much in the waiver, but the point that I wanted to make, if Monday C-Mac picked up Jason Myers for Seattle and put him in for that game, C-Mac would have lost by 0.24 because Myers had 12 and Tucker only had 2. So,
yeah, actually, I want to touch on that real quick. Just the fact that C-Mac did not utilize his roster spots, did not put Lamar into the IR when he was out. Just a boneheaded mistake. Sheehan is out there like, dude, what are you doing? And then me and Ross both text him at the same time, like, he could still do something. And then Sheehan's like, no, he can't. Close the door on him, picked up that last kicker. And we gave C-Mac the benefit of the doubt on the putting Lamar Jackson in as his primary. It was just brutal to watch him mismanage his team after getting called out already this week for it. Hate to see it as the commissioner of the league. You want everyone to be competitive, and on top of it, I expect better. Let's move on to the next one. Dabnapper's big win, 138-5. He was going for that high scoring, couldn't quite get it, but great match or a great win. Good having Chubb back, I'm sure. And Sandman, he's got a battle. He's got to dig himself out of the hole here.
What did Sandman start? Like, he started hot this year.
The 3-1 maybe?
Something good, and then it's just been an absolute ugly road since. But
yeah, it's been tough.
Second half of the year, since Chubbs came back, Dab's out for revenge, out for ruining seasons, trying to end on a good note, and he's doing that. 138, it's a good amount of points right there.
I feel like Dab's been second in the highest scores like multiple times this year. Like 138. Like a lot, like people have won in the 1 teens, and Dabs went up 138 and not getting the $50. That's got to hurt. But I also had this stat I wanted to bring in with Dap. With Nick Chubb in the lineup, he is 4-3. Without, he is 0-5. So, I mean, a lot of people have injuries, but that is just tough to see that. I mean, clearly he has a competitive, solid team that just got hit with the injury bug pretty wrong. And you saw Eckler come back hot too. It's like you got to sit there if you're Dap and wonder what if.
It's so true,
Yeah,
dude. Eckler.
Did you pick Eckler in the first round or Chubb?
I picked Eckler so that I could keep Chubb in the second round.
Great move. That looks like the move for sure.
I mean, who knows though? Herbert though, with Eckler moving forward, that could be a dynamic little offense.
You
Dude,
tried-
you already tried to talk me into keeping Damian Harris. You're not gonna get to talk me into keeping Eckler.
Eckler's a beast, bro. He is.
Eckler's not even on his team. He
Yeah,
can't
what?
keep him.
Eckler's not.
I know, but I'm just
So
saying.
like I wouldn't have. Like I never would have.
Yeah.
A first round pick with Chubb, guaranteed, is easy.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure. All right, one more matchup, right?
Yep.
The Dim Dogs, the true highest score. What's that, 4 for him? He's made his money back. Great week from the Rockers, but as we saw, that week 2 through 5 just collapsed, and you fought back well, man, but it's just too little too late, it looks like, and a big win for Dim Dogs on his way to what looks like first place.
Train keeps rolling for the Dim Dogs.
Watson's come back nice for you. I know there's a lot of talk earlier in the year of him not being much.
Hell yeah.
Waste of
And
a pick. But
I was in an early I was thinking about that A.J. Brown trade with Trev, because early on in the season when A.J. Brown was hurt, I offered him Watson for A.J. Brown. And I was just like, one of the things I held on to and I just preached. I was like, Watson's good for like at least 1 or 2 30-point games down the stretch. And he's definitely came on. So, but yeah, I mean, we put up a good amount of points, just ran into the Goliath here.
As much as I hate to say it, week 2 I turned down a Deshaun Watson for Drew Brees and AJ Green trade.
Watson was shopped early season.
Yikes.
And a lot of people just didn't want him.
yeah,
But I mean, now think about if you did make that early season trade, like a playoff team for Watson, and now you get the news that Fuller's out. Do you have confidence starting him? So it's tough. I mean, he doesn't really have
and
too
they
many.
just dropped Stills. Like that's
He's
got a tough wide receiver room going forward.
But I mean, he's Superman. He literally is. I love him. He's having a great year. Just respect for Watson. He's a baller.
for sure. All right, let's move on. A little over-under action. D. Brown taking the lead here at 11-7.
Did we recap in last week or no?
We didn't do it last week.
2 weeks ago, I think we all went 1-1.
Except D. Brown went 0-2.
Oh,
No,
you did?
No, the last one I went 1-1. Whatever the last week was that we did it, it was definitely 1-1 for me.
I looked it up before the slideshow.
I'm pretty sure he went 1-1, or else he would not still be in
definitely
first
1-1.
place.
Yeah, I
Or
know
maybe
it
it
was.
was.
We'll look back
Maybe
into
it
it,
was.
but it was definitely 1-1.
Yeah,
I can't
this was the
remember
same, like, as
You
far
were
as, like,
10-6, actually.
yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I was 2 games back. Pat was 1 in front of me, and Dara was in the lead.
Yeah, we all went 1-1. Well,
All right,
so
let's jump
was
into it. This is what it's at, so it doesn't matter where it was.
Hell yeah.
Over, D. Brown.
This one, I got my boy Kyler Murray. Hopefully a big bounce back game. He's been a little banged up with his shoulder injury, and then Belichick game planned for him last week, but I think this is going to be a shootout. And 20.2, probably one of his lowest projections you can get him at, just because it is, I guess, a tough matchup with the Rams defense, and he's got a little bit of a shoulder issue, but I think Murray should be in for a shootout here, going over that.
Yeah, I like that, especially with his running game. Ross, where are you going?
We're going with a Warrior running back, JT. I think he's coming off that little COVID absence, but before that, it really looked like he finally was starting to hit stride in that offense. The Texans' rush D is pretty bad. I think they give it to Taylor a lot, and he finally finds the end zone, and I expect a big day out of JT.
I like that. My over, a little unconventional. I'm going Alexander Madison. Cook is playing, but he was banged up. Looks pretty tough, so I imagine they're going to get Madison involved against a bad Jaguars team. I expect them to be running the ball a decent amount. 3.2, I feel like he's in line for at least 6 or 7 easily and may fall into the end zone as well. So I'm trying to make a comeback here. I'm playing strategically. I'm going Alexander Madison. D. Brown, who's your under?
Michael Gallup against the Ravens. Ravens got a tough defense, tough secondary, and I just don't think Andy Dalton can spread it out that much. I mean, the Ravens just held Big Ben in check. I like their defense and their secondary, and Mike Gallup, like the third, fourth option, touching the ball there in Dallas. I think 7.7, like you said, trying to play strategy and get these wins. So I think Gallup goes under that.
He's a waiver ad going on Friday. I don't think he got picked up. So if anyone's looking for him,
Yeah, look.
Is that even legal? I'm just kidding. I'm going with another Warrior running back, Giovanni Bernard. I was having trouble finding someone, but this one just feels like 11's pretty high for him. That offense is it's struggling without Joe Burrow. I don't see him getting more than like 40 rushing yards. And if I'm Zach Taylor, I'm going to start giving some of the younger running backs on the roster the ball a little more. It's the end of the season. You're going to be a top 5 draft pick probably. Let's see what you got in those guys. Everyone knows what Bernard is, so he'll have some catches, and I think he'll probably end up around 7 or 8 points.
I like that. Except it's on my team, and I'm probably not starting him, so it's all good. Mine, I'm going J.K. Dobbins, 11.7. Cowboys, obviously, defense hasn't been great, but there's a decent chance, I feel like, that Ingram and Gus Edwards still get a decent, chunk of the carries. So 11.7 felt like a lot, and he hasn't been a huge end zone target. So that's where I'm going, hoping to go 2-0, make a little comeback, and we're just got one more week after this, right? So
unless we take it into the playoffs.
I'm down to go into the playoffs.
All right, let's do it in the playoffs then.
I actually have an idea for the playoffs that
you got to pick from the playoff teams rosters.
Yeah, and then we'll do snake draft, so it's not like whoever says it first gets the better option. So we can do like a snake draft or over under.
What do you mean? I don't get it.
So it's like, D, you pick first out of if you want to do over under out of these 4 teams, and then you pick last for your second pick. That's more of like for the championship because then there's only 2 teams, so it's most of the guys on the teams are getting picked by us. But we can discuss that after.
Hell yeah. I'm trying to think, what was that last week that we did it on? What did we do it Thanksgiving week? A matchup for that? Over-unders? It was
I'm almost positive I remember I looked and everyone went 1-1 because I lost Aaron Jones.
Who did you
by
have?
Like
Who did you have?
I had Aaron Jones, and I can't remember who my over was, but I remember he lost by like 0.2.
Who'd they play?
It was Damian Harris.
Colts. Oh, yeah, I had Damian Harris as my over.
I can't remember. Fuck.
We'll look it up.
Oh, yeah. Week 13, we're getting into the lucky 13.
Here's the first preview. Big one for the Ravens. He needs this win if he wants any chance against Joe Dim. Obviously, first place, looking great. I don't know. With Mahomes, I'll take this one. With Mahomes, Henry, Robinson, Gibson, that's just a solid core. And then that's not even to mention Hopkins and Lockett, who haven't been as great lately as they were early in the season, but still, you expect them to show up. Not many holes in Dim's team, and the Ravens nest, man, oh man. I don't know. We've touched on it. Obviously, Allen and Diggs have been the bright spots, but besides that, just not much going on. We'll see if Lamar's back. I don't know. Have you guys heard anything there?
No. Still uncertain, very uncertain.
So I have a hard time seeing Ravens Nest pull this one out. I'm going to give it to the Dim Dogs, and I think that's going to be it for the Ravens Nest trying to defend their championship, in my opinion.
Put a fork in them, Dim.
Put a fork in them. All right, let's jump to the next one.
I just want to quickly say about Dim's team, when does Jefferson ever get consideration about being in the lineup? Because I feel like this has been Dim's set it and forget it lineup besides tight end for weeks. Does Justin Jefferson sneak in there in certain matchups? It doesn't look like he's been doing that, even with Jefferson being the main guy with Thielen out. He still didn't play him. So will Dim ever go with him? That's a big question I have on his roster.
I think that he has him in right now. If someone was to go and check at it right now, I didn't realize that Lockett's in on this screenshot, but I think I was looking earlier. Maybe he changed it, but I think he has Lockett in or Jefferson in now as his wideout too.
Against the Jags.
Does he have him?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a starter right now. But we'll see if he does that come Sunday because he hasn't done that at all. But he is a beast. Jefferson's a beast. And Lockett is big-time hit or miss. Tough to just not have Lockett going, though, with how good Russ is. He could deep ball him any second.
Yeah, for sure. All right, who wants to take this one? Ross, let's give it to D. Brown and then get Ross's thoughts on his own matchup.
This is looking like Deebo Samuel's in Trev's lineup. I don't know if Trev is playing smart right now with his – because Yeah, so he's got Fitzmagic. Dab, you made these slideshows before the waivers, right?
Yeah, I made him.
'Cause we were gonna do it yesterday, right? Yeah.
Yesterday,
Yeah, that's why. But yeah, so he's got. I'm thinking Sandman. I'm not sure if he's playing too smart right now. He's got playoffs on the line, or if he's just putting his everything in a bucket and just going for it. Because he's got Fitzmagic as a starting QB. Yes, it's a juicy matchup against the Bengals, and then he's got about 4 or 5. I think he's finding as many guys with a potentially high ceiling that he can put in on Monday night just to have it come down to Monday night. I mean, they're good players, but I don't know. I'm liking the roster for the Old Town Pirates more. If we go back to like midseason, I'm kind of getting the feel for the Pirates roster about the same feeling I had when they had Dak and when they were clicking. I forget, it was the first couple weeks of the season, but it just kind of feels like the Pirates hit a little tough spot, couple bumps in the roads, but the ship has kept sailing. And I think the Pirates are a decent squad. I remember on one podcast, Ross was like, he's been a part of a couple of championship teams, and this feels like one. And then Dak went down. A couple things happened. Bell got traded, so he was like, there was some question marks. But the Pirates ship it hit some rough waters, but I think it's sailing pretty smooth into the playoffs now. And I like the state of his roster right now for the Old Town.
Yeah, this would be a huge one to get. I know everyone's been hearing it in the league about how Sandman's got a championship caliber team. So it'd be pretty sweet to send him home in week 13. When I look at my roster, I think it's kind of figuring out what's going on with these RBs. Miles Sanders, I think, needs to get the ball more because he's got the talent. And then, I mean, the way Chubb's playing, it's tough to say, hey, Hunt, you need to get the ball more. But it's Clyde, and then I got a sneaky guy that my gut's telling me to play this week. I got Devontae Booker, who's the starter in Oakland, who likes to run the ball against a bad Jets team. My gut's telling me to put him in, so it's going to be tough to take one of these 3 guys out, but we'll find a spot there. And then, yeah, to D's point, it's going to come down to Monday night because Trevor picked up Buffalo's kicker, so he's playing Monday. He's got the Steelers D, Debo, and Terry. I guess, like, there's no way he doesn't play Terry or Steelers, so I don't think he has much other options at wideout, so he's rolling with Debo. But I like our chances. I think we're going to have our running backs produce a little bit more. I think we've been a changed team since we got Justin Herbert under center, and I'd love to clinch it this week and not have to worry because the Dap Nappers are coming to town next week, and they're a hot, scary team. So I'd rather get this one over with and punch our ticket.
Dude, you and me both, brother.
I'm going to say something. I'm kind of pissed that we didn't coordinate this before, but maybe we can do it for the next final weeks because I'm on the outside looking in. So I'm just thinking right now, as just like a better, if I was to put like the odds up, I would probably put like, if we were doing it, just because I'm honestly, as the more this podcast goes on, like if I was laying my money right now, I would think I'd put my money on the Pirates. I really think I'd put my money on the Pirates to win this chip. But I'm thinking like, so
love to hear it. But I mean, Dim and Kirch got scary squads for sure.
So if I'm going odds, I'm thinking Dim minus 150, just off the top of my head. Kirch 110, and then I'm putting Pirates like maybe like a plus 450, and I definitely lay my money with the plus 450 in the
plus
Pirates.
450?
Yeah, I mean just the state of it, just because 1 through 2 are so dominant, and then just because you're not even locked in playoffs yet. I'm talking playoff odds right now, championship odds.
That makes sense.
Plus 450, I'd like to lay my money there. I like the state of this roster.
I'm telling you, I'm not looking ahead, but I would love to see if playoffs started today and it's Kirch and I, like Kirch there's been a lot of words said between the owners. So, but first things first, let's knock Sandman out of playoffs. Like you said to his point, Fitzmagic, we love to see it. Like, yeah, it may be a good matchup, but I don't know. Playoffs on the line and the guys starting Fitzmagic. We like to see that. We're confident this week.
Fitzmagic might end up throwing a TD, then he throws a pick, and they just go, Tua, you're good. You're ready to go. You're starting second half. It's like you might not get a full game out of him. It's just there's some risks with starting Fitzpatrick for sure. With this much on the line.
Agreed. All right, let's jump to the next one.
I guess I'll take this one. Obviously, no QB there for Dap. I don't even know who he ended up picking up. Kirk Cousins, maybe. This is going to be a tight one. I assume Kirk gets it close to 100. I'm kind of liking CDs right now. Just the fact that Dap's going without Brady. It's going to be a sloppy one. This is for last place. Doesn't really mean much. Not much going on. The way Dap's been playing, actually, I do like his roster, but I don't know. I'm fumbling through this one, boys. But Naeem Hines, like I said, I think Jonathan Taylor takes that backfield. Melvin Gordon, go look at his stats. It's been ugly. Devontae Adams is obviously a stud, but we'll see what Shark. Obviously, Kelsey's going to give him a good. I'm going to completely change everything I said. I'm going with the Dap Nappers. Lane's roster isn't anything special. He has put up points, and it's always like a surprise. I'm like, wait, Lane just put up 120 with Melvin Gordon and Jerick McKinnon and just like questionable guys, but he's been fighting there. But I'm going to go with Dap.
I like it. Yeah, this is obviously not much playoff and no playoff implication here, but a lot of clown suit implications. So it'll be interesting to watch.
I got some playoff odds up here. We'll do it after. We'll do it after this one.
I thought we just did it.
I know, but I'm writing them all out.
We'll close the show off.
All right.
Yeah. I got your odds up here, Charles.
All right. Well,
all right. I'll take this one as well because it's U-Haul, and I
right.
stumbled through that one. This is a big one. I think people have been talking about the Murray Goats or Mountain Goats, and it's got a good squad. Eckler's coming back. I almost took Eckler as my under just because I couldn't believe 18 was that high of a projection. When is Sheehan going to get that game out of Michael Thomas? It's probably not going to happen with Taysom under center. I don't love Higgins in that matchup. Like I said earlier with the Bernard, I think that offense is a lot worse without Joe Burrows, obviously. And then Mostart, it's looking like when Sheehan has this three-headed RB, like look at those projections. That's almost 50 points just out of those three players. And if he can have a good game out of Kyler, that's tough to beat no matter what Michael Thomas and T. Higgins do. Then you flip it over to Hall. Is Gaskins back, Hall?
Yeah, he's playing.
He's playing. Okay, that'll be big. When Hall made that trade, he said it's a league winner, and this is the week that it hopefully pays off for him against Cincinnati. And then I already spoke about how much I like Taylor and Rodgers' position rank. I did think about this yesterday. There was a lot of flack given to Hall after that initial trade with Montgomery and whoever the tight end went off right away. But that was a clear swindle. The Warriors got their QB, and Rodgers has looked like his MVP self this year.
It's kind of Belichick, baby.
The demise of Calvin Ridley, it's been tough to see. When is he going to come back to that top 5 fantasy wideout that he was earlier in the year? He's been okay, but like he was putting up 30-point weeks early in the year.
He was wide out one.
That.
League. He was wide out one.
Yeah, I mean, I think out one, but I wouldn't say the demise. He's still putting up like 10-point weeks.
No, I know. But the point that I want to make, and that I think is going to be massive for this matchup, is Jarvis Landry. If you look at his stats, it's a little misleading because like 3 straight of the Browns games were just the worst weather in the world, so they just ran the ball all day. I think Tennessee's a good squad. They probably get a lead on Cleveland where they can't just hand it off to Hunt and Chubb all day. And Jarvis, we've seen the talent Jarvis has. I think he can put up a big 20-point game and change these projections a little bit. But guts telling me to pick Sheehan. I think those 3-headed monsters are going to get it done for him.
I'm leaning Chaw on this one. I just think game flow for him. Houston, Jonathan Taylor should have a game. Gaskin's going to be – that's a tough one to try to gauge, the Gaskin one. Don't know what his workload will be like. But Rodgers should be able to put up some points. And then just looking over to Sheehan, I mean, Kyler Murray's my over, but if there's a defense that could hold him in the check after Belichick did, I think maybe the Rams and Donald, they could. Aaron Jones against Philly. It's a tough front, but I don't know. Their defense doesn't scare me that much. Eckler, freaking Belichick is going to game plan for him. I'm really only scared in Sheehan's lineup this week. Higgins with who knows throwing him the ball. Mike Thomas and Mostert are really his two studs this week. But I'm liking Charles' matchups. Tennessee is not good against the pass this year. So Landry, if he catches the long one, like Ross said, catches a TD or two, that could definitely swing it.
You know it, man. We picked up Noah Fant, too. He's going to be in there. So, like that pickup.
I think you win this one, Charles, though. I really think you do. I think – and then Sheehan will just be frustrated because he'll be 5-8, and he'll be like, what the hell happened? I thought I had some good RBs, thought I had a good team, was putting up some points, but a couple of things didn't go his way. And a lot of things went the Warriors' way if he pulls off this one. Let's go.
No, that's fucking right, baby. We're looking to get back in the playoffs. And with that, let's jump into your playoff odds, Steve Brown.
All right, so we got them right up here. That's the last slide right there?
Oh, shit. We got yours. You want to do a quick preview of yours? I'll do it real quick. We got the Trippers coming in, looking. They still have a chance of the 1 seed, but looking like a 2 seed heading into the playoffs. He's got a solid squad, but obviously Jacobs is out. We'll see if that lasts. That's obviously not ideal. Tyreek got his 50-point game, so that's done out of the way. He'll probably be back to 10. DK Metcalf is an absolute freak, so continue to expect a lot out of him, especially, going against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Beat Cooks. Who else has Watson got? So not much going on. And then on your side of the ball, I obviously, just kind of downplayed Kirch's team a little bit, and Dobbins is my under, but still, I like Julio Jones coming back against the Saints D.
I hate Julio. Hate him. Lost so much respect. I don't hate him this match. I mean, I do hate him this matchup. I hate Julio, just everything this season. Lost so much respect for Julio, like at just perennial 1,400 yards every year, and then just nothing. Gives me nothing. But this is interesting.
Let me finish my recap here. I'm trying to say that I think you're gonna pull it out. So
hell yeah.
I like Gallman against that bad Seahawks defense. Obviously, Deshaun's been turning it on, and they're not playing for too much. But a divisional game, I have a feeling they're going to end up putting some points up against the Colts. That D has kind of been shaky of late after such a good start. And Drake looked pretty good lately against a tougher D, I guess, with the Rams. But I have a feeling the Rockers are going to pull this one out. So that's what I'm going with. A little bit of a gut call, but.
Yeah, I love Wayne Gallman. Out of all my guys this week, I love Wayne Gallman the most. He's been running hard ever since Lane dropped him too. I mean, he's not in it, but Lane dropped in a lot of good RBs this year. But one thing here is we can take from this matchup, like the season's done, but Kirch going into the playoffs 9-3, Jacobs is out here. If he's out going forward, really he has no other RB on his bench. His backup running backs besides Cook and Jacobs, is Alex Madison, and it's like you can't really.
Who does he have in right now?
You can't rely on Madison. I don't know. I have no idea. You can't rely on Madison if Cook is there. So it's like if Jacobs is out and going forward, he really doesn't have too many backup running backs for him. I mean, I think he picked up James White, I think is who I saw. But it's like you can't feel too confident starting him. So just going forward, Kirch might want to add something to his roster. I mean, you can't make any more trades, but I don't know. We'll see.
Let's jump to your playoff.
That could definitely hurt Kirchy moving forward. But, yeah, playoff odds, here we go.
Kirchy's got Josh Gordon on his roster right now.
I know. And
I feel like he's had these crazy – I've always said he's had one of the worst benches in the league.
Right.
But, I mean, obviously he has one of the best starting lineups in the league, but he hasn't really had to face too much injury adversary where it's like he doesn't have second options. So
absolutely. If Jacobs misses time in the playoffs, the Trippers could go from being a clear cut to like, we got problems knocked out in the first round because you never really tried to pad your bench, which is tough. I mean, he's had an elite starting lineup, but my playoff odds right here, we'll bring them up. So did my screen flip?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're looking.
All right. So
just
Dimmer,
zoomed in on Dim.
We got Dim Dog, number one, leading the pack, -150. Anyone laying their money with Dim Dog? Then we got
Are you the house? Can we bet with you on these odds?
Well, oh shit. We will talk about that, I guess, in a bit, but most likely not. So Dim -150, just because he's the clear cut. And now I think Vegas is going to update with the Josh Jacobs injury. Kirch might go to -110 to +110 if you want to lay money with the Trippers. So Kurt's minus 110 right now. Might update with the Jacobs news. Moving down to this is where I'm laying my money right here all day. This is just best bet. PJ plus 450. He's got a solid looking lineup. If he can sneak in, take care of his business back here. I like the state of their lineup there. One thing about Ross is, Ross, would you have still looking to go QB hunting if you had Eckler in your lineup? Would you how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I had to get a QB. I felt like, even though Big Ben outscored him the first 2 weeks I had him, it just felt like for the roster. And I guess if I didn't trade Eckler, I probably would have traded one of my other running backs. So I needed to make a move for a QB.
Definitely. Herbert got a huge ceiling. So I think that trade and that Herbert was the league winner. So we'll see if that stays true. Herbert's my league winner. That's why I'm laying my money right here with the Jam Ross plus 450. Then we move down to Hall, who is plus 800, folks. Anyone want to lay their money there? Wow. Hall was a plus
That seems pretty high for a team that's
I just
controls its own destiny to make to the playoffs.
I'll put 100 on myself.
You can do that. If you win it, Ross will pay it out, he said. So definitely hit up Ross for that lock. But
Word, Ross, we're locked in. Word.
My reasoning on the Hall plus 800 is he's only got second most points scored in the league. So if he gets there, my thinking is it's going to take a miracle for him to win it. So you want to lay your money. It's big money to win it. It's going to take a miracle to do it. Sheehan, he's got a good lineup, but his path is a lot less. What? This?
I mean, there's definitely.
I have a 4 times better chance than Sheehan to make the playoffs, technically. So that's just bad odds.
Yeah, I don't like this part of the odds. Only plus 50 difference when they're Caleb's
you
2 games up on him.
Why? Explain it. You want to lay your money with Sheehan? It's plus 850.
I'm 2 games up on. I'm 2
I
games
think
up
Shaw
on.
should be plus 600, maybe lower.
And
Paul's
Sheehan should
odds
be
are perfect. Paul's odds are perfect.
Okay, you're the odds maker.
That's a huge long shot. Maybe Sheehan's odds.
All right. This is getting too long, and I got to eat some dinner here. I think we're getting.
What's the Sandman at?
I'm getting there, but I don't. What do you explain to me why this is wrong? Sheehan plus 8.
We just did, dude. We just did.
He's not going to make it, Ross. Explain.
No, I just think there should be the difference between Hall, who's got a very good chance of making the playoffs, to Sheehan, who's got a very slim chance. There's got to be a bigger difference.
Right. But there is. It's a 50 because Hall's getting destroyed round 1.
Yeah, but there's
round 1 he's in, he's gone. That's why it's 800 Sheehan. Very long shot.
Plus 800 between the 2 seed and the 4 seed.
Now we go down.
But only a plus.
All right, I'm
50
calling this segment. We
only got 2 more. We only got 2 more. We go to C-Mac. We got plus 1,000 because it's just his lineup's trash and he's not looking any likeliness of making it. Now we're going to jump to the Sandman, who a really good bet because I think the winner of this matchup between my best bet where I'm laying my money, the winner of that matchup, maybe you want to do 50-50 on that matchup because you put 50 on the Sandman. That's a whopping plus 1,200. Wow.
Sandman with worse odds than Raven's Nest. That's interesting.
Absolutely.
That's just another bad odd. I mean, this is just riddled with errors.
Ross, we'll let you know why that, because our best bet, the odds makers have their best bet on him, who we think is going to beat him. So it's a long shot.
Okay. Makes sense.
All right, folks, you want to get your bets in, you know who to hit up.
Man, we're on the board.
2 weeks left. We got it going. Paradise Valley, it's coming down to it, baby.
There is one disclaimer. Any winners are paid out by Jamross, Patrick Jamross.
Trevor Jamross, yep. All right, let's go Pirates. Woo!
Good shit,
Big
man.
week. Let's get to it, baby. Let's have a weekend. Peace out, Valley.
All we got tonight, let's do this right. Let's do this right. Let's do it up. Just shake it like